Hey, what's going on, guys? Just doing some rest day cardio, and I want to actually answer a question that I get asked a lot, and that is my thoughts on bulletproof coffee. Now, interestingly enough, I've become one of the main authorities on intermittent fasting on YouTube because I do a lot of videos on intermittent fasting. You know, I've been doing it for 5 years now. I've written extensive courses that implement fasting, and frankly, if I have some of the most insane transformations, many of which have not been posted, many of which are on my private Facebook groups. I'm going to be doing some more podcasts with these guys. And interestingly enough, I do not recommend, bulletproof coffee or fat fasting at all. And the reason is there's a few. The first of which, one of the main benefits of intermittent fasting is that it makes dieting so effortless. You save this huge calorie buffer for later in the day. So all of a sudden, when you learn to adapt to fasting where you're not even hungry during the day, you're just focused, alert, energetic, you have amazing mental clarity. Well, when you can do that, then all of a sudden when it's time to eat, you have a ton of room to hit your calories in. Because imagine if you have, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks, and you're on 2,000 calories a day. Well, those are small meals, okay? Now imagine you push your first meal, into the afternoon, you're only doing maybe 2 meals a day, maybe a smaller meal or a piece of fruit, and now all of a sudden you can eat huge triumphant meals. So that in itself makes dieting so easy. That's what makes staying at a low body fat extremely easy. Now, if you are to follow the bulletproof coffee thing and, put in 300, 400, 500, 600 calories of fat into your coffee, you lose out on that benefit big time. You're basically having, breakfast, but just with pure fat. And it's not the best protocol. Besides, if you look at the nutrition information on butter and MCT oil, which is the bulletproof coffee approach, you basically put in a couple tablespoons of grass-fed butter and a couple, some MCT oil into your coffee. If you look at the nutrition information on that, they're very low in vitamins and minerals, pretty much sparse. So it's not like that great idea. But going a step deeper here, in actuality, one of the huge benefits of fasting is that it really boosts growth hormone. The research shows once you are in that fasted state, growth hormone steadily climbs up. And so the growth hormone does two things. The first of which is increases fat mobilization. So when your insulin levels are low and growth hormone is really high, that helps take all those fat cells and releases them into the bloodstream to be burned for energy. When you get to a lower body fat, it's harder to mobilize body fat, but intermittent fasting kind of handles that entirely. Secondly, intermittent fasting actually, the growth hormone you get from intermittent fasting actually helps preserve muscle protein. So at the same time, it increases fat mobilization and preserves muscle protein. Now, interestingly enough, a lot of people aren't aware that fat blunts growth hormone simply because it raises somatostatin, which in itself reduces growth hormone, or pretty much works antagonistically to growth hormone. So by having fat, you're actually raising somatostatin, which in itself will reduce growth hormone. So that's pretty much the reason why fat fasting isn't that ideal. You're defeating the purpose of fasting simply because all the room for calories you get later in the day, you don't, because you've had 400 calories of fat in your coffee. And if you do fasting properly, coffee in and of itself is a great appetite suppressant, so you don't need to add fat to it. It kind of just ruins the whole strategic coffee effect. But anyways, that's pretty much why I don't recommend fat fasting. Now, if you're someone that really loves having fat in your coffee, maybe just do a teaspoon or something. Don't go overboard, because at the end of the day, fat loss is a numbers game. Okay, and by that I mean that to achieve fat loss, you gotta be in that calorie deficit. So putting in 400 calories of fat in your coffee is kind of ridiculous. And when you approach your training and diet correctly, you can have tons of fun, eat lots of chocolate, French fries, amazing meals while dropping fat. But you can't do that if you're taking in 60 grams of fat in the morning in your coffee. That's silly. All right, guys, that's all I wanted to talk about. My shoulder's getting burnt out. If you want to download, the Kinobody fasting handbook, which is really effective, hit the link right here or go to kinobody.com/fast. That's how to do this whole fasting thing and make it downright effortless. If you want to learn the best course of mine to achieving your goals, and if you want to join Kinobody and be on my exclusive mailing list, which I absolutely, I'm so motivated and dedicated. I pride myself on my emails that I send to my list because they're awesome and I share my life. well then go to kinobody.com/survey or hit the link over here too. And that's pretty much all I want to talk about. So, you know, at the end of the day, fat fasting, the bulletproof thing is actually, you know, pretty much wrong, and you're much better just to do actual, real intermittent fasting. And funny enough, you know, if you do fat, it doesn't really raise insulin to any, you know, noticeable, profound degree, but low insulin is not what you need. Low insulin is not enough to really mobilize body fat, because we're trying to burn our body fat, not dietary fat. So you actually need to be in that calorie deficit. But furthermore, low insulin is not quite enough. You also need to have elevated growth hormone. That's what also helps mobilize body fat. So the combination of, you know, being in that calorie deficit, having increased growth hormone, at least for a good chunk of the day, low insulin is like, you know, the perfect storm to really burn fat and mobilize body fat. So anyways, that's all I want to say. Hope you enjoyed the video. Bye-bye. Oh, one more final note. I just wanted to mention that you don't need to have low insulin 24/7. You don't need to have elevated growth hormone 24/7. Just doing the intermittent fasting on a daily basis takes care of all of that. You do want to eat carbs and fats and protein, but just eat it later in the day so that you have that that period of like maximum fat burning, that period of like, you know, controlled catabolism, which is breaking down body fat. When it's chronic, you'll break down muscle, but it's controlled. And then you get that period of, you know, more insulin, more growth and anabolism and recovery. So you don't want to be low insulin all the time. Just a final little nitpick. Anyways, guys, if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, make sure to subscribe, and comment below and let me know your thoughts on the matter. Bye-bye.